This is Terry Kurtz online reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department has been awarded a $1,110,000 grant from the California Office of Traffic Safety. The grant will support ongoing enforcement and education programs to help reduce the number of serious injuries and deaths on county roads. This funding will target enforcement operations in such areas as speeding, impaired driving, and distracted driving, specifically drivers in violation of California's hands-free cell phone law. DUI checkpoints will be increased, and enforcement operations focused on the most dangerous driving behaviors that put the safety of people biking or walking at risk, and motorists demonstrating behavior that causes crashes, speeding, failure to yield, stop sign and or red light running, and improper turning or lane changes. The grant program will run through September of 2024. Funding for this program was provided by a grant from the California Office of Traffic Safety. One wonders if the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration was influenced in awarding the grant after seeing the recent study by Consumer Affairs that ranked both Victorville and Hesperia as having some of the worst drivers in the nation. Victorville ranked 7th in worst drivers, with neighboring Hesperia following too close and taking the number 8 spot. Hesperia had the highest rate of speeding-related accidents. Driving in winter storm conditions was among the PowerPoint topics at Wrightwood's annual Winter Traffic meeting. San Bernardino County Fire, CHP, Angeles National Forest, Public Works, and Caltrans officials met to prepare for the influx of winter visitors who come to the mountain village. Wrightwood sits in portions of Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, and the Angeles National Forest, so all three regions assist with winter planning. San Bernardino County Fire hopes to have an additional ambulance stationed in Wrightwood this winter and is considering the purchase of additional snow vehicles that will be kept at Wrightwood Station 14. The captain of Victor Valley Sheriff's Station emphasized the importance of having the CHP on speed dial and the departments working together. At the same time, the importance of residents to prepare themselves to survive until help can reach them was pointed out. Listen to that 7-day forecast. Shop ahead of time. Buy canned goods and bottled water. Make sure you have plenty of medication. All advised. Drivers coming up to see the snow should also bring adequate winter clothing, snow boots, an emergency kit, blankets, and extra water and food. Members of CHP, Caltrans, and San Bernardino County Public Works urge visitors not to block the roadways, to put on chains, or play in the snow. They also emphasize the importance of residents parking in their driveways and not on the street, so the snowplows can clear the roads. Weather advisory experts foresee a very high El Niño winds season ahead. That's typically a warmer phase, but they cannot predict how it will impact snowfall. A Mountain High Resorts spokesperson stated they are looking forward to another great ski season, a big winter, a super El Niño. San Bernardino County officials have released a detailed report on the events following the 2023 winter blizzard in Wrightwood and other San Bernardino mountain communities. From February 23rd through March 15th, the San Bernardino mountain range was hit with a powerful blizzard. The initial snowstorm brought wet, heavy snow driven by high winds for 5 days, February 23rd through the 28th, with nearly 7 feet of snow accumulating. All state highways leading into the mountain communities were immediately closed to the public. A second snowstorm struck March 2nd through the 4th, bringing another 4 feet of heavy, wet snow to the mountains. These extraordinary events prevented an ordinary response and delivery of services by the county's incident management team upon activating an emergency operations center. Their primary mission: preserve life and property, conduct evacuations, and establish emergency vehicle access routes. Duties expanded to include rescues, transportation, food delivery, and checking on the welfare of residents, particularly the elderly. When all roads became impassable, escorts of delivery trucks carrying gasoline and groceries were planned and executed by CHP, Caltrans, county roads, and the Sheriff's Department. Virtually all models of transportation participated in evacuating residents. Patrol vehicles, helicopters, snowcats and snowmobiles, transportation vans, culinary and delivery trucks and flatbeds, and volunteers vehicles, standard and 4x4 trucks. Just under 270 residents were reportedly rescued, with over half of them rescued on one day alone, March 4th. There were a total of 13 deaths reported in the San Bernardino mountain communities of Wrightwood, Big Bear, and the Twin Peaks areas combined. However, according to the county's report, only one death was directly storm-related. Among the many lessons learned, mountain communities have a significant short-term rental population. During the storm, many owners continued to rent properties out even after government and news agencies warned of the approaching blizzard. Short-term rental occupants did not have the appropriate equipment to evacuate themselves from their rented locations. To mitigate this, it is recommended that county stakeholders share an essential list of extrication tools, snow shovels, and equipment with short-term rental owners. This would allow renters to evacuate their vehicles once roads are cleared. The Sheriff's Bureau of Administration Division provided cost estimates for the Sheriff's Department's response to this event at $1,678,921. This includes personnel, equipment, meals, mileage, supplies, and travel costs. Adding names to high desert sports and entertainment heroes and idols. Megan Jastrab of Apple Valley, first high desert athlete to be an Olympics medalist. Singer-songwriter Chase Beckham of Apple Valley, American Idol winner 2021. Sultanas 2021 softball girls, winners of the school's first CIF and state championship. And we flash back to Hesperia's first undefeated season and Mojave River League champions. And true hometown heroes who saved an elderly woman from a serial killer. Megan Jastrab, a 19-year-old cyclist from Apple Valley, won a bronze medal at the Tokyo Summer Olympics. Megan and her U.S. cycling team won bronze in the women's team pursuit, having also set a national record earlier in the Games. Megan Jastrab was homeschooled in Apple Valley. She attends Milligan University in Tennessee, where she studies business and exercise science. 24-year-old Chase Beckham of Apple Valley won 2021's Season 19 of American Idol. In late 2020, 2 weeks before he auditioned for American Idol, he was involved in a near-fatal car wreck. His original song, 23, was performed leading up to his winning 4th annual edition of American Idol and hit #1 on iTunes. Chase Beckham was born in Victorville, spent his childhood in Victorville, Hesperia, and Apple Valley, attending Carmel Elementary School in Hesperia, Vanguard Preparatory School, and Sitting Bull Academy in Apple Valley, before moving out of the area. He returned to Apple Valley to work as a heavy machinery operator. American Idol prizes included a recording contract with Disney's Hollywood Records, in addition to the $250,000 cash prize. A freshman's home run. A sophomore left fielder's diving catch. Big plays of the day behind senior ace Zeta Day Adams' 3-hit shutout, leading the Lady Sultans of Sultana past Rosary Academy 3-0 to advance to the CIF State Tournament Championship game. The home run off the bat of designated hitter Maddie Torrenueva, leading off the second home run, the second in the CIF playoffs for Maddie Torrenueva, a .429 hitter on the year. The defensive play of the game made by Macy McDonald, robbing the visiting Lady Royals of a run in the fifth. Zeta Day Adams takes care of 7 opposing batters herself with 7 strikeouts on the day. And when Rosary Academy does threaten, the Lady Sultans defense is there to back her up and preserve the shutout. Zeta Day Adams is strong from the start, striking out 4 of the 7 Lady Royals she will K on the day in the first 3 innings. Zeta Day Adams, who actually felt far less pressure this day than in the previous games for the CIF Division III Championship.
Oh no, I think I felt a lot of less pressure, especially because as we go, I become more and more confident that everybody's going to have my back no matter what.
What makes this team so good?
I think that we all come in knowing what we have to do individually and as a team, and we work together so well.
I think the chemistry is the #1 thing that makes this team so good.
We all just have the spirit and the heart to play, and we're all feisty.
Zeta Day Adams pitches the CIF Division III champions, Lady Sultans of Sultana, to the Regional Division II State Championship, an 8-4 victory over Oxnard to record the historic first State Regionals Championship in school history. Maddie Torrenueva is the #1 hitting hero at getting her done. 4 hits on the day, includes 2 doubles and her 3rd home run of the postseason. The spirited freshman drives in 6 runs and scores 7 times, having a happy hand in all 8 Lady Sultans runs scored in their title game victory. Seniors are asked in the aftermath to describe their incredible team.
I would say just trust the process, because we went in not even knowing that we were going to have a full season. We thought we were just going to play within our league. And once we found out we had the opportunity to keep going on, we took it and we kept fighting along the way. And we got to where we're at today, and it's just helped us get where we're at.
Scorpions quarterback Ian Harriman among the heroes, leading Hesperia to a 10-0 mark in 2008 and the school's first Mojave River League championship.
We did this our freshman year, 10-0. They come out here and do something real special on our senior night, go 10-0 again.
As freshmen, we went undefeated, and we've been talking about this since.
This team is awesome, and I love to play with them. They're #1, we're #1.
10-0, Hesperia's Scorpions undefeated. Led by seniors who were unbeaten as freshmen, Scorpion school history is made. Quarterback Ian Harriman's accuracy had been uncanny from the outset. This 48-yard scoring strike to Jay Waddell on Hesperia's 3rd play from scrimmage. Was the aerial assault to exploit an Apple Valley weakness or prepare for the playoffs?
A little bit of both. Our team, we're definitely a dual offensive squad. You know, we don't pass the ball as much as a lot of teams do, but we have the weapons to do so.
On defense, Danny Reyes, number 25, was again domineering.
the 6'1", 222-pound linebacker leads the Mojave River League in tackles. He's replicating older brother Dominic, last year's Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, you know, me and him, we always had a competition last year, you know. This year I just had to go out there and show him.
For the Scorpions, it's 10-0 and on to the CIF playoffs. And for the first time in school history, Gridiron champions of the Mojave River League.
From the archives of real-life heroes, it was August 2006 when Daily Press workers Joe Eskandar and Ray Bantig sprang into action to rescue a local woman from a serial killer.
You've heard about him, read about him. The headlines: Daily Press pressmen rescue woman from attacker who turns out to be an accused serial killer. Two newspaper press workers taking a smoke break 50 yards away. Their reaction that August 7th, 2006 saved the lady and changed their lives. They're real-life heroes. No ordinary Joe. This guy's muscular frame is carved into a physique the type you'd expect to see on one of those Ultimate Warriors, which he's considered doing. Joe Iskandar is 27. Ray Bantig is 34. What they did was respond and react, not plot a plan of attack. Adrenaline took over when they recognized the need to rescue an older woman in distress. The suspect, 3 victims, 2 dead, 1 still missing. How many more had it not been for their heroism? Here's how it happened in their words.
Well, basically, me and Ray were sitting out here having a cigarette break. We saw a guy running across the alleyway to the Castle Cleaver, jump the wall. Didn't really make nothing of it. And then all we heard was a scream, lady screaming.
And we saw the guy just running across the alley and jump over the wall. And that's all I was saying. Next thing we know, that we heard a woman just start yelling and honking her horn.
And then all we heard was a scream, lady screaming. We stood up, see what it was. He was yanking her out of the car by her hair. So we just ran over there. And by that time we got over there, she was already out of the car. He was almost all the way in. He was trying to shut the door.
He grabbed her from the hair and tossed her out of the car. So me and Joe ran towards him and grabbed the door. We were about to close the door, and then we grabbed the door, and Joe went inside the car and grabbed him by his left arm, and I grabbed him by the right arm.
He was trying to struggle a little bit. I had him like in a full Nelson hold and had his head kind of pinned down against the window. And he was trying to fight, told him, you know, if you keep moving, I'm going to put your head through the window. Kind of lit up a little bit by then. Ray was calling 911. By that time, we told him to get on the floor. He didn't want him to get on the floor, so Ray kicked the back of his knee to get him down.
I kicked him behind his knee, and he went down. That's how break me and Joe. And that's it. He went down. He said, "You got me, you got me," and that was it.
After that, you know, Ray came back to the zip ties. We tied his hands behind his back, put him up against the wall, and the police came shortly after.
The hero label, not a comfortable fit on Bantig's shoulders, but it's impossible to escape the acclaim and recognition.
Well, people around here, they said we're heroes, but me and Joe, it's like a normal fight, you know? Well, I'm sure Joe has been in a big fight, and me too, but this guy is kind of like, he's more like he tried to get away, but he don't want to fight, so that's it. I'm out. And people said that we're heroes, but that's good though. We all appreciate it.
Had things turned out differently, Iskandar might have been in law enforcement.
I've tested for the sheriff's department once before, a long time ago, and that didn't go through. Other than that, no, it's just something that popped in our head. You know, we just went and did it. And I didn't feel like sitting there. I know how the cops sometimes take their time, so I didn't want to sit there and have to hold them down the whole time.
You'll see many a spin on this story in the days and weeks ahead. The city of Victorville and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department among the first to proclaim the bravery of these real-life heroes.
The Graham family has been cattle ranchers for more than 5 generations. The Graham family's mission is to provide individuals with the power to promote positive social change in the way beef is raised.
Everything that we deal or see today is important in that circle of life, whether it's a weed or whether it's a luscious plant. They all have equal value in what we do.
Equally important as vegetation, the water. The headwaters to the Mojave River flow through this ranch, and the water leaves in pristine condition.
For the chloroforms and everything in it, they call it pristine water. When you think of a waterway leaving a ranch, you would expect to see some discoloration. You would expect to see something here other than just absolutely crystal clear, beautiful water leaving a ranch. But if you do it right, that's what you get. And that's what I talk about, that it is so important that we do what we do for the water. This water is going to be drinking by every school kid, by everybody that is downstream from us. And this is the very beginning, because our water runs inland and runs north instead of to the ocean. So this water is going to be used from, like I said, from here to Death Valley.
The Grahams keep true to the roots of the land, never using herbicides or fertilizers or machinery. Everything is done on horseback or on foot. The beef you buy from true pasture beef are cattle that the Graham family has raised for the cow's entire life. The grass the cattle eat is what grows naturally. There is no odor stockyards here. Bacteria has been reduced to where there is less in manure than in vegetation.
This is a piece of cow manure that has hit the ground. You're going to look around, you're going to see a lot of this. It's right next to where, when it rains, it can run into the water, okay? Now, every bit of this plant life, as you can see underneath this tree, underneath this bush, this is all bacteria, okay? This is all mildewed, that is bacteria, and this bacteria will end up in that creek. There's bacteria in this that will end up in that creek. If you took this for pound and this for pound in the same condition, meaning in the same degradable condition, that's a little further degraded than this is at this point. The bacteria count would be less here than it is there. Why that is because this animal, when we fed this animal, we did not bring any grains, we did not bring any supplements in. All the animal ate was what was here, okay? And this is eventually going to die and end up in a waterway. Once it eats it, it takes the energy out of it to live. So when it has this come out, this has less energy to feed bacteria than it did if the plant just died by itself. So the cow, it's easier, this is less pollutant than the bush is by itself, because the cow is taking the energy out of that. Now this was a really hard thing to get people to understand, because when we think of cow manure, we think of Chino Valley and we think of all the pollutants it's caused down there. It wasn't the cow manure. A cow is only what it is fed, okay? So if you feed it high nitrate feeds, high carbon feeds that have a lot of GMOs in it, that don't break down the way that we typically stuff breaks down, and you do that for years, you create a huge pollution bank. Consequently, it's not two of the same things. So this is actually cleaner than that would be, and we wouldn't think anything of eating a piece of this dried off bush, and yet this will have less bacteria than this would have. If you look around, this brush brings a lot of things to us. One thing is if we're in a dry year, if the cattle need to, or if we're in an exceptionally cold year, or if we have some snow, the cattle will eat that brush, the green spots on that brush, and it's very good feed. In fact of the matter, if they eat it for about 30 days, it'll give the meat a really unique flavoring to it. And that's why our meat will never taste the same every time you get it. It will depend on the year, it will depend on the time of the year of what the animal's been eating. And so it's not like going to the grocery store where every animal is fed the same ration and every steak will taste the same. That is why all of our meat will always have a slightly different flavor, taste, even to some extent a smell to it. Mother Nature is one of the coolest things in the world if you just have the patience to allow it to work. You know, the hardest thing we have is learning how to develop our patience and allowing this to happen at its right speed, at the right time, and let the circle of life do what it's supposed to do.
Earl Graham had to persuade the powers that be to be patient when it came to his insistence to not use pesticides or herbicides.
That is called a thistle. They're just a nasty plant.
When I first took over this ranch, it was covered in those, absolutely covered. You couldn't not ride your horse through for it getting poked by all of those thistles. And the county agency told me, they said, if you're going to be responsible for that property, we're going to mandate that you do some spraying for that thistle. And I said to the guy, I said, look, if we spray and we find that spray in our water, they're going to shut this whole operation down. It'll never get to be. So they agreed that we could do that.
Earl Graham follows the formula of another longtime rancher when it comes to the bottom line versus the circle of life.
He'd oftentimes tell me, he'd say, take the money out of it and see if it makes sense. Remove the money portion of it and see if it makes sense. And I started applying that. Take the money out of it and let's see what makes sense when we manage land. Pull the money out. Money is not what we're after. What we're after is managing the land. Now, if I can recuperate some money by managing this land properly, all the better. The first job is learn how to manage the land.
Earl and Rhonda Graham ride herd over their homegrown, free-range, grass-fed and grass-finished beef on horseback. The presence of vehicles make cattle uneasy. The temperament of true pasture beef cattle is paramount.
We don't use vehicles, we use horses when we check our livestock because we don't want to damage the ground and we don't want to excite our animals. It will affect the beef, okay? So we got to have them, and it's a fine line because I can't have them to where you can walk out here and pet them. I'd have every weirdo in the world wanting to walk out and pet the cows, okay? And they have to be aggressive enough that if something wants to mess with their calf, they're a mother and not going to allow that to happen. So it's a fine line in there. If they're too docile, we can't have them. If they're too rambunctious, we can't have them. The other thing that I find unique is when they're full and they're happiest is when they all congregate back together. And it's made me realize that us humans do the same thing. When we're happy and we're full, we decide we got to congregate. We either all got to show up at the resort at the same time of the year. We got to go to a campground where everybody else is camping. We got to go somewhere, whether it's the beach or whatever. And animals do the same thing. The second they're full and they want their time out from working and gathering their food, they all congregate and come together. Now, the desert portion of this ranch is so important to us because it's what gives us the year-round feed. When the rest of the ranch in the winter, when everything goes dormant, the desert comes alive. And the cattle get to eat, move to the desert, and they get to spend their time over here in the desert portion of the ranch. And then as spring comes on, they migrate. And so there's no reason to have cross fencing and all of that kind of stuff. If you have enough room and you run your cattle properly, you don't have to have that.
True pasture beef cattle live in one of two locations, either Central or Southern California. The ranches total over 5,000 acres. The Graham family's mission is to provide individuals with the power to promote positive social change in the way beef is raised, giving you the opportunity to buy environmentally sustainable and locally raised beef. The Victor Valley Community Services Council is offering free homemaker services, transportation, and activities for seniors ages 60 and older with mobility challenges. Residents can join the group in its monthly shopping trips where they pick you up, take you home, and assist with lifting and carrying items. For more information or to reserve your seat on the bus, call 760-243-9646.
Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road. Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Zolu Quality Truck Body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Ewanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees, your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. Silverwood, the developers of the Silverwood Master Plan community, support the events, youth activities, and programs of our high desert Mojave River Valley communities.
And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. That's a wrap on this edition of Terry Kurtz Online. On behalf of Victor Valley Television Productions, thank you for watching. We hope to see you again next time around.